So, let us start this lesson with a question. So, suppose what is the big headache for a programmer whenever the programmer has to develop a very large and complex software. So, many questions may come, whether you have to design it properly or the coding should be done by an expert programmer, or there should be adequate testing while this on. In fact, all three things are very much essential, and in fact is a concern for any software development team. Now, Java is famous and Java is basically at the top, because at the time of coding the programmer can introduce some things into the program itself, so that the program is fault free, error free, and then robust program development is possible. Now, this is possible in Java using a concept, and very useful one concept, which is basically unique of its kind, and then only the Java language provides it. Other programming language C++ in some extent it provides, but it is a very unique and new of its kind in Java. The concept is called exception handling. Now, exception handling coming into the way to dealing with errors in the program. Now, before going to have the discussion on exception handling, we should understand about what it does mean about errors in a program. Now, so far the concept of error is concerned, there are two types of error in Java programs. One is called the compile time errors and another is called the runtime errors. So, the compile time errors is very easy, because it is not your headache to debug it. If you write some program which is not syntactically correct, that means not written according to the language specification, then it will report an error, and this error will be reported by the compiler, Java compiler, Java C program itself. So, this is the compile time error, and there are many situations when the compile time error is concerned, but I am not so much concerned about compile time error, because if you write the program according to the right syntax of the Java programming language, then compilation error is no more there. But if you have suppose some mistake, programming mistake, right, then compiler will report an error and you can fix the error, and then you can develop the program, I mean successfully compile. Once the successfully compiled your program, there will be compile time error free, compile error free program. On the other hand, which is more concern, more headache, this is called the runtime errors. This is very difficult. This is very difficult because Java program is written successfully, its compilation is successful, but while it is running the program, that time it does not give the correct output, or it is abrupt termination, or there may be some causes which damage some files stored in a database, or like this. So, these are the errors is very critical, and if we do not take care in a very sincere manner, then it leads to a many debacle there. So, many loss in many resource is concerned is due to this runtime error. So, that is why Java runtime error needs to be checked, needs to be controlled, needs to be maintained, manipulated properly. So, this lesson is basically dealing with this one. Now, let us have an idea about what is the compile time error and what is the runtime error. If we see this program, could you check the program and tell me what are the possible points or locations there it gives the compile time error. Okay, if I can help you, you can see I am pointing out. So, there is a location of the error, and here is the error, and here is the error, and here is the error. You can understand why these are the so many errors are there. These are the errors because according to the Java syntax it is not written. On the other hand, if we see other program, may that we cannot find any errors here, this is correct in all sense, maybe that this is an error because in this class a public is not accessible, whatever it is there. And so, this is the idea here, and this is also we can find one error. You can tell me why this error, because you have declared a method as abstract. Whenever you declare an abstract, no code should be included here. So, there are few errors, these are called compile time errors. So, when you try to compile this program, Java will specifically state in this line number this error, in this line number this error, in this line number is this, whatever the things are there. You will report the line numbers, and for each line numbers whatever the compilation errors are detected will be reported to the programmer, so that programmer can correct it and then write, and then syntactically correct program can be written. So, this is the idea about compile time errors. Now, let us come to the example of, there are many situations when the compile time errors are there. From the last example you can understand that there are so many, only few of course, there are many reasons where the compile time errors are there. In fact, a Java programmer when starts his programming programming habits, then usually at the very beginning he faced many errors, compile time errors, and whenever he become experienced and then from beginners to little bit advanced, then expert, then he will be quickly able to see that this is the compile time error. Usually do not face compile time errors actually in the program. Now, so this is the compile time error, and then what is the runtime error? Let us have a look. Now, this is the one program we can see, and this basically if you see the program and if you compile it, this will compile successfully, because there is no error in this program so far the compilation is concerned. But whenever if you want to try to run this program, we will be able to see that all these input will be taken this program successfully, there will be no error. So, there will be runtime error, but there may be runtime error whenever we have to give some other input in the same program. For example, if we give this this input, then you will see this program reports an error. So, this basically is a unknown format error because of these statements, because this statement only take the integer, but you have passed as a floating point number and that will not allow. So, this is basically runtime error. So, what we can say is that so far the runtime error is concerned, the program can run for some input, but if it cannot run for all possible inputs, then it leads to runtime error. So, when you write the program, in this case for example, you have to define the program in such a way that if it works for this integer type data only, then you have to check it. If a user gives other type of input, then accordingly it will check it and then report it, so that that kind of input can be bypassed and then program can not terminated abnormally. So, this is the idea about runtime error is concerned. Again, like compile time error, there are many sources, many reasons that runtime error will occur here. I have mentioned only few some important things which usually occurs there, and there are many more. In fact, we will discuss in our while discussed about our robust Java program writing, then some errors will be discussed there. I have listed few errors which are usually common type of errors, but there may be many more errors are possible. Now, so these are the basically runtime errors. Now, this is very difficult, because while a program is writing, that time programmer has to take care of all possible checks that this one, but sometimes it is very tedious, and obviously the programmer's ability, that programmer cannot do all kind of checkings. So, in that case what is the way out? So, as a way out, Java provides a mechanism called handling errors and exception in Java program. So, it is basically the who will do it. Definitely compiler will not do, compiler only check the syntactical error which reports as a compile time error. But this is the error and exception which basically occurs. I should not say exception at this stage, because I have not discussed any exception here. I can tell only error. This is checked by Java runtime interpreter environment, Java runtime system. Now, Java runtime system whenever find an error is basically in lieu of abnormally terminating the program, then it basically throw an exception, and the Java programmer should have the facility to catch the exception, so that it can bypass this error, and then for the rest of the part it can be executed successfully if they are correct. So, this is the concepts. So, whenever there is an error or some abnormal things is occur, Java runtime environment will catch it and then throw it. and then Java programmer will process it so that abnormal termination can be avoided. Now, here is an example. Suppose here is a method, suppose we have declared as integer x and y, and in some program by mistake user called this as a this one 1.54 and right. So, compilation error will not be reported here, but at the time of execution whenever input is 1.5 it will throw an exception. So, that this method cannot be invoked and then bypassed. As another example, here you can see whenever we have to perform an arithmetic operation like this one, and if suppose b and c these are the two variables values is equal, then it basically gives rise to an error, it is called the divide by 0 error. And if you show in C programming, if there is a divide by 0 error, then the program will halt there without giving any output for the rest of the programs or whatever it is there. But in case of Java, if we can catch this one, or if this kind of error occur for this kind of situation, then Java runtime environment will throw an exception, and then with the catching this exception we can take care about this kind of errors in the program. So, this is the concept, that error and exceptions in Java can be handled during the runtime and then avoid the errors. Now, so far the errors and exceptions is concerned in Java program. There is a big what is called the development, and there in Java there is a package called the java.lang package, which basically discussed many classes, and here is a class hierarchy. As we see, there is a class called throwable, and this throwable can throw two types of classes called errors and exception, and for the exception there is IO exception and then runtime exception. So, this is the total class hierarchy or the mechanism dealing with errors and exception in Java program. So, this is the concept called exception handling in Java. So, there is a class, as I told you, java.lang package, which basically define all the classes it is there. Now, let us see about little bit details about the different possibilities about the class and then exception handling mechanisms that is there. It is very big story. So, we will cover this kind of discussion not in one module, we may take 2 more modules to complete the discussion with illustration, and then finally, we have a demonstration, so that we can pinpoint exactly how the things, the mechanism works for us. Now, first let us have the idea about in general what is the exception handling mechanism it is. As I already mentioned about that Java provides runtime error management one concept. In fact, Java, this is the error management, there is memory management, and there is synchronization management. There are many other management schemes are implemented there. So, Java runtime error management is a policy, is a scheme which basically take care if there is any error occurs in the program. If there is any if there is any error that may occur in a program, it can catch it, and then this can provide a solution to guard the premature exit of the program, therefore, loss of other data or damaging of any system. So, regarding these things in Java, or I can say the Java exception mechanism handling mechanism is consist of 5 specific keywords. So, 5 keywords are called try, catch, throw, throws, and finally. So, these are the keyword like say class keyword, interface keyword, class, then extend keyword, like this one, these are the also keyword we have to embed into the program. Now, let us see how we can do all these things are there. In general, these are the keywords that we have already mentioned here can be embedded in a program. So, for example, say suppose we are declaring a method, these are beginning of the method, end of the method, and if we see this is the possible scope of error. So, that obviously as a programmer should know that okay, there may be chance. For example, here an user should give an input as an integer, but sometimes user by mistake or whatever it is can give other type of integer. So, we can have a check. So, like this one. So, we can put all check. Now, here is basically try will take care. So, try can check that okay, these are the possible sources of error in a program. So, whatever the codes those are basically under scanner, they can be put into this block is called the try block. And then for many errors there are many different type of exceptions occurs. So, for each errors and corresponding the exception we can plan the catch. So, if it is a divide by zero error, if it is a null pointer error, if it is a out of bound error, whatever it is there, for each error we can mention the catch. That means, if an error occurs, this block will take care what to do. So, for each error there may be one or more block we can plan for it, and these are the finally right. So, it basically whatever it is error occurs or not, it will execute this one. So, finally. So, this is the basic what is called the scheme. So far the handling exception is concerned in a Java program. So, we usually call try catch mechanism, try catch. Now, here also in addition to try catch, two more things is a throw. In other sense it is called the throws also there. So, throw can be put anywhere there. That means, explicitly if you have to throw an exception, as I told you, implicitly means Java runtime management, whenever Java runtime management find an error, it will throw an exception, but sometimes you can, the programmer can explicitly throw an exception. So, this can be achieved by means of throw keyword. So, this is the basically in brief the concept of exception handling mechanism in Java, but now it is very important to discuss about each the block one by one, each concept one by one. Now, we can structure this concept in here is the 6 different way. That is, the exception handling can be done by using simple try catch, that means only one try and one catch. There may be also one try with multiple catch. So, this is the simple try, then try with multiple catch, and then there may be multiple exception which can be caught by only one catch, that is also quite possible. And there are also possibility that whenever the exception occurs, it should finally execute some code. So, there is a concept called finally, and throwing the explicit exception. So, throws or throw in a block, and another is that nested try catch. That means, within the try catch we can define another try catch, within that try catch another. So, nesting. So, try catch within try catch. So, these are the different 6 different way of handling exceptions in Java. We will discuss all these cases one by one in our subsequent slides. Let us first discuss about simple try catch block. Now, typically a simple try catch block looks like which is shown here. So, this is the method that we are going to discuss here. As you can note that usually error occurs in a method. So, we are discussing in the context of method only. So, this is the method declaration. Now, in this method the statement which is basically the critical statement. So, this critical statement can be put under the try catch, that is okay. So, eventually in a very default sense for every statement we can write one try catch, then obviously, but it is very tedious and programs very bulky, okay, looks very clumsy and it is not desirable. Only if you see that this is the possible errors, causes of error, then we can put that block, that code under the try catch. Now, so this is the try block, we will contains this is the code susceptible to cause an error, and then for that code at the end of this try we can put a catch. Now, here the syntax you should see, try is the keyword and beginning and ending, that is basically called the try block. So, this basically whenever an exception occurs, this will be basically check it. So, that is why if you do not put this one, if any exception occur, Java runtime manager will not be able to throw it, I mean handle it. So, that is why we should put it explicitly there. And then this is the catch, like this try, it is a keyword catch and it has also beginning and ending. That means, if an exception occurs, what are the next steps the program should do. So, this basically includes the code if an exception occurs. So, this is the idea about the concept of simple try catch block. Now, definitely it is okay if we have an example. So, the concept will be understood better. Now, let us have a simple example to discuss it on. Now, here let us have a look about the simple class it is there. We have defined one class, the name of the class is called divide 0, and here one function is declared, any function. This has two arguments, integer x and integer y, and here is the code. Now, and this is the main method, it is declared there. Now, okay, now we can see where is the source of error if you look at this program. Now, here you can see there is a source of error. Why? Because this method, any function can be called for any integer values, that is okay. It will work for any integer values. However, it will not work properly if the second integer is 0, because if second integer is 0, there is basically divide by 0, and no processing unit can deal with the divide by 0 error in a program. So, whenever y equals to 0, then if we put all these things under a try catch, then it will basically, if that situation occurs that y is 0, it will throw an exception, and then following catch will catch it and then do it whatever it is there. Now, see, this program is therefore not a robust program. So, what is the way that this program can be made robust? And here is the one possible input that it will work usually always, but sometimes it may not work, and here is basically is an attempt to make the program robust. How we have done it? If you see, this is the code which is basically very critical code. So, we put this code in the try catch block. So, this is basically under try, and if you see, this is the catch is basically what is basically tell that x y is bypassed, enter y as non-zero. So, you should pass the input y as non-zero like. So, this basically may send a message or an output to the user if this kind of error occurs. So, here if you see, this code will not execute always, only if error occurs here, then only it catch and then accordingly it will execute. So, this is the way that we can build the program so that it can run in a robust way. That means, it will take any input including 0, the second argument as an input also. So, this is the idea about making the program robust. It is a very simple example here, and here is another example. As you can see here, what we have done here is that we put these things in a try catch block. You know why we have done it? Definitely because this code will again leads to divide by 0 or occur for some input if b equals to c. So, here after if in case suppose this error occurred for b equals to c, is basically report that this occurred there, and then it basically bypass and this. So, this is the idea about the try catch, or I can say that simple try catch mechanism in Java to handle the errors. Now, here again let us have the look. This program looks very innocent. Apparently, if you see that there is no errors. Now, can you tell me what are the possible errors are there in this code? It is basically command line input. That means, here if you see args dot length, okay, arg dot length is basically if it basically says that number of inputs when you have passed as a command line. Okay. Now, so here is a possibility that user can run this program without passing any input. That means, this value will be 0. Now, if this value is 0 or others, or it passes suppose 2 value, but argument of this array is much more, then there may be what is called the out of bound error there. So, this program if you run it for many inputs, you may check that this program may run for some input, but not truly for all input is there. Here is some instances I have mentioned here that this program will work for this as an input, this as an input, but not this, but not this. Now, you can understand why this program will fail to run for this kind of input, but not this one. Anyway, so as a exception handling mechanism, it is our duty or responsibility so that all the inputs, if user gives, then this program still will work. That means, for the correct input it will definitely work correctly, but for the wrong input passed to the program, it should take care of them and then report to the user accordingly. So, this is the concept of the try catch block in your Java program, the simple try catch block in the Java program. And here is the okay. So, earlier program was not robust because we check that this program does not work for all, and this is an attempt how we can make the program as a robust using try catch block here. So, it is basically try catch block to take the full guard of the errors that may occur, and whatever the input we have mentioned in the last execution, if we run this program with all the input, you will see this program will run. It will not give any abnormal termination of the program, and then we can say the program is robust. So, this is the idea about handling exception in a Java program, and as an example you can see this program, if you run, it will work for you correctly, successfully. So, this is a basic introduction about the exception handling. There are many more features, many more things to be learned in so far the exception handling is concerned. So, basically the idea is that we have learned about try catch, but there are few more features basically there which makes more effective way of writing the program, and there are many more features so far exception handling is concerned. So, all these things will be discussed in our next module, and thank you for your attention. Thank you very much.